Jack. Ain't no time for faking 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 Jack.
Hello and welcome to PUBG League Dropzone 1 first-person duos tournament brought to you by ViewSonic and Cooler Master. I'm Heyday here with the Jabroni Bro. We'll have Goremeister with us a little bit later tonight. But first things first, we're going to kick off Game 1 of Week 4. And Jabroni, things are really starting to shape up on that leaderboard.
Yeah, absolutely, Heyday. We only have these 3 games tonight and 3 games next week. And that's it. There will be a winner right now. In first place, we have Totality 2, which is Nop Nop and Purdy Curdy holding down the 1 spot. And actually, Totality 1, the other squad of Smithy and DeCannon, are holding it down spot number 3. So Totality as a whole is looking in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it's super solid up top. And as we kick off the action here, we'll get into the leaderboard a bit and get into who has a chance here as we get into this Week 4 and the first game. You can see the plane crossing over Milta, heading from the east to the west. And this is going to give the players a lot of ground to cover here. You see a group going down to the military base and a solid line of players going up north to hit Rosok, Pachinki, and the likes up there.
Yeah, we look like we have about 4 duos heading down to the military base area. One over to Novo, one holding down a little bit west of Novo. That intersection, tons of buildings there, plenty of stuff, plenty of loot for 2 players. And yeah, a couple actually opting. We see Monotorious and Tomshi heading for the base proper itself. Also, Oz and Fire Official kind of creeping in that direction.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where the circle ends up tonight in these 3 games. What we've seen in the past over the course of Dropzone is that the circle starts out a little friendly and then gets really nasty towards the end of the night. So I think all the players sort of anxiously awaiting that first circle. And while what we've seen is that a lot of players ignore the first circle for the most part because it's not so dangerous outside of it. They really do need to get up and get moving at points because some of these circles have been so drastically different from where the plane covered in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I noticed right away here is where we saw our flight path. It went right down the center, right over Pachinki, up towards Gaka a little bit, started down the Milta area. The amount of players that stay away from the flight path, so many players, they go north, they go south, they never want to drop directly down. And it's actually funny because in a lot of situations, because everyone has that mentality, the middle is the safest place to be because nobody goes there. So we only have 1 duo holding down Pachinki right now all alone. We see Smithy and DeCannon, though, up in Yasnaya.
Yeah, we've seen a good consistent look at that. As the circle finally pops, it's going to be in that northeast. So anyone that opted to go to Yasnaya, Rozhok, even Pachinki there, even down to Milta, are going to be safe and being able to continue to loot. And this also opens up, you could see a pack of players going up to Severny there. It opens up for that town as well and some looting up north.
Yeah, Severny is a great place to go. We see Punage up there, Sevo up there as well. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Dag was the 3rd player. Yes, Dag was the 3rd player cruising up, teammate of Sevo. And he's following Punage fairly closely here.
Yeah, definitely 2 different teams right there, having a little Dukes of Hazzard style chase.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that it's so important to survive because the most points in this game will be given for survivability. You get 100 points for first, 80 for second, 60 for third, so on and so forth. And then when you get down, but the kills are 1 point each. So the priority is always winning, getting that top 5 finish, and avoiding an early fight can be the most important thing.
These players here not avoiding an early fight down in the military base. They're going to trade here real quick, and it looks like one of the teams wiped as we take a look at Oz there. And Oz did kill Monotorious and Tomshi with that M416. So that team's going to come out on top and have the military base as their own as we get here going on Oz. Either a little teabagging or just trying to safely collect that loot. Not quite sure.
Yeah, he's looting his rewards right now. And this is actually really funny because Oz and Fire Official were not the first players down into the military base. They were the second team heading down there. It appears as though they went far to the west. There's warehouses on that side. We're able to pick up an M4, and when you run into a Mini 14, but you're 2 feet away, that M4 is so powerful. Very well done getting the quick 2 kills. And now the sole owners of the military base.
Yeah, it's great for them. Very unlucky for the other team who's going to go out early and miss out on some points. You did mention the points for kills and the points for winning these matches and how crucial that is, especially at this point as we are in week 4. And so I do love crunching the numbers on these things. And I took a look at the leaderboard. As we see another kill here, Shulk, who's been pretty devastating throughout the last couple of weeks, he's going to get a kill with the micro Uzi. He's going to get some loot on as well. But here's how it sort of plays out. I color coded it on my screen. Unfortunately, can't share it with you guys, but I'll share it with you in words. So the top 11 teams all have at least 300 points, with the top team sitting at 425 points. So one win, as you mentioned, is 100 points. One win, and say a team goes out early, like you just saw there, and you can all of a sudden be caught up to Totality 2, who's sitting at the top there. Once you get in the 12th spot through the 27th spot, that's anywhere from like 280 points to 200 points. These teams still have a chance if they win 3 games or top 3 in 3 of these games this week, or a very strong finish in the last week. And then the last 28 through 48 teams or so, anywhere from 190 points to 0 points. So you can see at the top, very close. As you get to the middle of the pack, it starts to spread out, and those teams have a lot of work to do. And then down at the bottom, some teams really need to just get in there, get some solid points to try and get somewhere back in this thing.
Yeah, and it's something very interesting when it comes to the series type of play that PUBG has developed into. Obviously, it's the best way to determine who the best squad is, right? Or the best duo is. Play as many games as possible. And something that really pays off for a lot of these squads is, you might not win a game or 2 games every single night, and that's fine. But it's those consistent finishes, those top 5s, those 5th, the 4ths, the 3rd place finishes. They add up like crazy. And what really kills you, what absolutely will destroy a team, is if you get, oh, nice, we got a 3rd place, and then follow that up by getting eliminated incredibly early back-to-back or something like that. So that consistency is something that really is the most important thing that these teams can do. As we see Idan here looking for some shots on the C, waits for him to hit the ground, because you are stuck in a little bit of an animation there, and is able to pick him off, and he will be killed off. Nice patience and nice shots with the AK.
Yeah, that's nice. Also, too, if he's falling from a high enough spot, he might already be giving you a little advantage with a little fall damage as well. So that's a nice pickoff from those guys. Idan and Legendary sitting in 9th spot. So a lot of teams really in the hunt for this first place. And you mentioned consistency, and we've seen that. And if I remember correctly, Nop Nop and Purdy Curdy, they didn't win a game first place speaking last week, if I remember correctly, but they are still in first place. They still held that first place spot. And that was through consistency. That was through some consistent, at least top 10 finishes with solid kill counts. And they're still up there. They're still holding it down. And very interesting that 2 Totality teams are there. Armada, Alliance. There's some really solid teams up top, and there's some really solid teams below them looking to take this place. So this is almost anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 1 win, a 10-kill win, which we know we've seen only once squad break the 10 kills, but we see 9 all the time. Like, that is so many points, and it can swing you up this leaderboard so quickly if you have a good night. We see Encelenzo getting some kills on STG Gino, but this is a problem here for Allo here, is he's on the first floor. Idan's looking for him a little bit. He's trying to peek the window onto Legendary and take some shots, but his partner was the one that was killed, and that was the C jumping off that other building. So now he's stuck in here on the first floor in a 1v2 situation.
Yeah, he does have the upper hand, it looks like, at the moment, as he does get some shots off and wounds Legendary. He's going to flank around now and try to get a better beat on them, it looks like, so far. But yeah, the teams here so far, the ones that are playing well, and you mentioned what's his name, as we just saw, Enzelenzo and Jorski, if you will. Those guys with some really high kill counts last week and some really solid, consistent games over the past 2 weeks, and they are now sitting in 2nd place, and they weren't anywhere close to 2nd place after the first week.
Yeah, it's really funny because you get to know the same players over and over again, those top fraggers, and you see them consistently, and you just know from the kill feed. As you sit here, you're watching the game, and like, yeah, you just keep seeing Enzolenzo's name pop up in the bottom left.
Yeah.
You see Smithy's name pop up over and over again. You sit here, and you really get to know the players. You're like, these are the fraggers. And now it seems Allowed actually was able to scare Idan and Legendary off as he popped a helmet, and they decided, let's just get out of here. We got our kill. We have the advantage. Let's just go loot elsewhere. Let's go find a safe spot. Let's get into the zone.
Yeah, trying to play consistent, trying to play safe, taking that kill that came to them and then moving on and trying to get some more loot on in potentially a safer spot. It is part of the game in this case when you are trying to survive and end up in one of those spots that's going to pay out the most points. They're a team that was in third place after week 1 and have dipped down and then had a really solid week last week to work their way back up. So the ebb and flow of these teams is really interesting to watch. It's a really fun thing to watch and to see how these players come back from maybe having a bad game. You mentioned, you finish up there in the top 3 and then you get wiped immediately. That can be really tough on the ego, but to come back and play solid after that is really cool to see.
Yep, absolutely. We're down in Primorsk here. This is nowhere near the safe zone. This is probably the players with the longest travel. And we have a little bit of a 2v2 confrontation that's going on, leaving both squads hurting for meds right now. QFT Zago and Sideline Killer were actually in a boat, beached it, and are now on a run. Blastic here, dangerously low. We'll have to med soon. But if you don't have a vehicle heading from Primorsk, this is a long, long trip that these players have ahead of them to be safe.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, these players do tend to sit there out in the blue and try to make their way back in. And of course, that's not always necessarily their game plan. Sometimes they're getting stuck in these circles that end up on the other side of the map. But as we mentioned, this circle, it doesn't hit so hard. It doesn't hurt so much. But look at that ground they have to cover. And as Jabroni said, if they don't have a vehicle, although it looks like Fire Official is going to pick one up here, if you don't have that vehicle, that's going to be really tough to get in here. And those are the military-based team. Zago and the rest of the guys down in Primorsk are going to have some work out ahead of them if they want to even get into the safe zone.
Yeah, it's something that happens with a lot of squads. We see it all the time. Blastic here, you should pop a first aid. You're getting pretty close. It seems as though he's popped a painkiller. But what happens a lot is a lot of players will actually, when they drop Primorsk or they drop Zarki or they drop Stalber or somewhere over there, their first priority, even military sometimes, their first priority is let's get a vehicle. As we see a dossier, I believe, just south of Blastic here, and it's let's secure this vehicle. Let's bring it somewhere. We'll loot up. That way, if we get a horrible zone or we get in a lot of trouble, we can always recover. Something that happens now is when they're trying to leave, if QFT Zago and Sideline saw other vehicles, I would split and pick up an extra vehicle and just keep moving vehicles out of the way to inconvenience the teams behind me as much as possible. Shoot out tires, do anything you can. And it's a weird strategy to play as we see the zone go even further north for these poor Primorsk teams. But the vehicles are important. You really just can't not grab one. You need to make sure that you have one when you need it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point, and it's something you don't see until you see high-level play. When you're watching the average Joe play, they're going to run right past a vehicle and never think twice about it. But we're seeing so much more of this come in where teams are preemptively taking out tires, like you said, and really thinking about what they can do to have the upper hand on the other teams other than more bullets, better accuracy. You see some of the teams there in the middle of the map as Smithy looks like he's down. And Punaji is coming around the corner.
Yep, this is very unfortunate. Decanier is going to try and make something happen, but he doesn't. It's Punage. And this is actually a legitimate question. I didn't know how to pronounce his name, so I sent him a message on Twitter, and he said Punage. Punage. It's not Punaji, which is what I've been saying. So sorry, Punage. Well, we do have it cleared up now. But yeah, he is able to clear. I mean, that's a huge kill. Taking out Smithy and DeCannon, two of the top players that we have. That is our current third place team with an early elimination here, thanks to Punage. And he will reap the rewards.
Yeah, and they're in fifth. So not only are they helping the players that are around them, they're also helping themselves. Not only are they potentially earning more points, but they're also taking out their direct competitors for that top three spot. And that's the top three spots are what all the the chicken's about here, right? So we do have some really sweet prizes from Cooler Master and ViewSonic. And we'll talk about those in a minute. But they go out to those top three spots and those top three spots alone. So if you're sitting in fifth and you take out that third place team, that's huge.
And there's Poonage with another 2 kills as they get the vehicle explo. And very importantly, if we have a chance to pop back to the map here, look at these 3 squads right there by the bridge. We have Poonage and Drass, Purdy, Curdy, and Nob Nob, H-Right, and Zyphon. Now that is the team in first place, the team in fourth place, and the team in fifth place, all choosing the same type of location to move into and all holding down here west of Yasnaya.
Yeah, and we see also Ben Q there as well. He's with Gale Force there in 11th spot. So that's a really good point. Is this coincidence or is this prime feeding ground and wanting to take that prime feeding ground for your own and really make a statement here in game 1? Taking another look at Legendary here as they're on the prowl and on the loop.
Yeah, they're going into the buildings. I don't think Legendary here still without a helmet after that fight in the east of Yasnaya, and they have pushed into the 3-story building here to the north of this compound. Solace and Adanias, though, down south. I don't think they have any idea Solace and Adanias are here. We did see some quick looting and stuff. I don't think any shots were exchanged yet, and they're kind of peeking out the windows, just keeping an eye out, looking around. So this could be an interesting confrontation when it does happen as Legendary jumps off the building, heads to the first floor, trying to peek south. They have not cleared any of these buildings, obviously. So they may not be aware yet. There may have been some shots exchanged as we see Legendary is ADSing towards that building.
Yeah, really just trying to get an eyeball on without rushing in anywhere. Just trying to play it safe. Here he finally goes in, going to start checking corners and trying to get an eyeball. He does seem to know that they're over in, excuse me, in that direction. He does keep facing that way as he makes his way up. And there's his helmet if he so chooses to put it on. Oh, it looks like he finally did get a helmet.
Yeah, the level 1 helmet. It is fear when you are without a helmet and you know at any point in time, no matter who's shooting at you, they don't even have to be one of the top players. Anybody can accidentally shoot somebody in the head once. And having that fear of not having a helmet is just the worst, especially when you're in a vehicle, which they did drive from Yasnaya all the way up to that compound. Just one spray down with a scar or something catches you in the head and you're immediately knocked out of the vehicle. So lucky for Legendary that they did make their travel safely. The zone is now closing in here for the second time, moving the players further up north towards Stalber. I love the Stalber mountain finish. It's really interesting. So many odd sight lines, rocks, not many buildings, a lot of cliffs and angles. It's a really cool fight if it heads up further towards Stalber.
Absolutely. I also think it adds an element of not so much of a significant or well-visited place enough for these players to really know it like they know some of these other places, which I think really lends itself to the fights that happen there. Players not so confident potentially in those places, as we see Zago finally coming into the circle here. And yeah, it really does lend itself for some not awkward, but very cautious fights in that area in the end. It looks like he might make it if he hits the gas here. This is going to be a tough one. We can see Young Modern got a knockdown, but it looks like Outlawed finally killed Young Modern there. So some other fights kicking off as we do still have just a couple players trying to get back into the circle.
Yep, and QFT Zago will not make it. That is the danger of heading to Primorsk, not securing a vehicle and moving in time. So he will go down. The Dacia's worst nightmare is a hill. Let me tell you, it is just those things cannot go uphill at all. We see Blastic picking up Slex here after he was downed, so they will have to met up, but they'll be okay. This is actually pretty crazy. They were dangerously low, both of them. Nop Nop killing off VZ, actually. Pretty Curdy also grabbed a kill, so they had a little team wipe there. And they will pick the scraps off the bodies. And another zone pretty centered right here. We do have the lake. We do have Yasnaya still in play. Didn't push all the way up to Stalber, so only the southwest corner of the mountain of Stalber will be playable, as we see Lush and Allowed up there, and MLGB also up there hanging out.
Yeah, MLGB's in a good spot as well to get back in the running this week with some good gameplay. And we did mention surprises earlier. I'm going to run through them right now. So we have a quick look at the map. First place is 2 ViewSonic XG2530 244 hertz gaming monitors, 2 of those. Second place is 2 Cooler Master Master Key Pro S keyboards. And third place is 2 Cooler Master Mouse MM520 mice. So some kids getting kitted after this one.
Yeah, that's what I need. I need some fancy monitors, man. The dream. Legendary here with a nice little spot. I've seen a lot of players heading here on these 3-story buildings. They jump into this little hidey hole here on the 3rd floor. A lot of unsuspecting victims if you're not familiar with it. And everyone's kind of moving in the circle. We have the vehicles heading towards the lake. Some creeping that way. We do have 2 duos pulling up right next to each other. We also have a crate dropping down directly north of them. So that should be an interesting little situation here, as they're right on top of each other, right at the base of the rocks there. I'm not sure if they drove the vehicle into the water. It looks as though they may have. Fire Official and Alls have a nice location there north of the lake. And we have a M24, my favorite gun in the game. No 8x scope to go with it, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, but in there as well, level 3 vest, some ammo, and a med kit. So whoever picks that up is going to be pretty happy. Looks like fire's making their way up there. And you mentioned that hidey hole that Legendary was in. Those spots definitely play a different role in a game where you have someone that can sit in the 3rd or 2nd story there and really have eyes on around. So a lot of those spots, Jabroni, do you see them not so much in play in, say, solo first person rather than in something like a squad or a duo action?
Yeah, it's definitely not something that I see very frequently in solo, as Fire did have his own 8x scope, so he'll be okay. But we do see a lot in the squad game, a lot of like where 3 squad members will remain near each other and one player will head into that really awkward spot that you didn't know about. And you'll be watching and you're like, whoa. And then if the other team doesn't know about it, and that's kind of a thing, there's a lot of like little secret locations and ways to get on top of buildings and stuff like that, that they all keep secrets. They don't want the other teams to know about it. Right. And they'll use it in a game at some point and it'll be like just completely mind blowing. Like nobody knew that you could get on top of like a gas station like that, for example, just, like little tricks and stuff that you would have no idea existed that a lot of these really high caliber players know, and they keep a secret just to punish you with.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool to see that stuff come out in competitive play. And Nop and Pretty Curdy holding things down in the gas station there. The circle is going to favor that central and sort of northern field area there. Legendary and IDAN sitting right in the middle of it. So we see Katie Cakes on the move here, trying to stay safe, healing up a little bit with her teammate. I did see Odin Thor in there. What I noticed is that Odin Thor does not have his teammate. Looks like VZ got taken out. So he's going to have to try and push through this solo, looks like.
Yeah, and he has one of the only buildings left here as he steps out and takes some shots. And this is really important on what Odin Thor is doing here. Now, he is obviously at a disadvantage, 100%. He is a solo against two players. But he's going out of his way to make himself appear as though he is as aggressive as possible. As vehicles roll up, he jumps outside, immediately takes shots because he wants them to fear a player being here. He wants them to fear a duo being here. A really nice grenade, and he gets both. He knocks out A-Trait with the frag, and Zyphon dies from falling from the push that the grenade gave him. So Odin Thor able to defend.
That was beautiful. That was so beautiful. He played that so well, and as you said, he was the aggressor there. He pushed out so hard on those guys. You really have to think twice. Is he alone, or is he have his teammate somewhere? The push, the bait shots around the right-hand side, then flanking back around the left, then dropping smoke on the right, and then coming in, taking some shots, getting them super low, and then the perfect grenade to finish it off. That was beautiful to see.
Yeah, and the hope when you're coming out of the building like that and you're taking those really aggressive shots, The hope of that is actually to scare the players away, to keep them away from your building. Fire Official getting melted with the Scar and immediately killed off. Oz is able to drop back. He's actually pushing forward to try and get some vengeance here as Slex and Blastic put down Fire Official in a matter of seconds. Now Slex is taking shots from elsewhere, and he'll go down as well as Adania's put some shots on him, and he walks right into a grenade, so he will bleed out. And now Blastic is all alone as well.
That was intense there, and that's something I think you're only going to see in first person perspective. As we were following Fire Official into that field, and we saw the player sitting there, but he didn't, and he was quickly taken down, as you said, practically melted there. As Adinas here is holding down and really trying to get a beat on anyone coming up, holding down multiple windows right now. Okay. We've just got a word from our producers that Discord is going to do some sort of reset or reboot. So if there is any casting breaks at any moment during the gameplay, we apologize, but we'll be right back after that.
Yep, absolutely. Right. Let's hope that it'd be a great thing to happen in between games. Just letting you know. MLGB here, though, holding down the Rocks. They are trying to use the height to their advantage. Biggie and Scurry. They have a team to their north. They also have a player down to their south. Looking for some angles, though. Car 98 with a hollow sight. Really tough to work with, but the level 3 helmet cannot complain about that. Biggie actually pushing over towards Wolf and actually put some shots to the north.
I like it.
We'll have to worry about that.
Yeah, I like it. They have a good spot here, but it is very wide. And so he's definitely trying to keep that flank safe. They do have the blue to their back, which we know is not always the safest thing. But for the most part, at this point, you can expect that anybody that's in the blue is not coming out very healthy. But they are doing a good job of holding that down. They're one of the teams that are sort of on the cusp of things. They're in 12th place right now, 284 points. Definitely not out of it at all, so to speak, but definitely have a lot of ground to cover. It's possible, though, with some really solid games tonight and an extremely solid finish next week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oz here creeping up on Nop Nop. Nop Nop was just looting. Has no idea Oz is right behind him. He may have just noticed as he dives underwater. Purdy Curdy may have put the spot on him. Purdy Curdy and Nop Nop actually dove down here. They got 2 kills. They wanted to come grab some loot before moving into this new zone. And there we go. They do spot each other. The shots come out, and Purdy Curdy able to quickly take it down Oz. And you can hear in the background that little spectator water bug. Once somebody's in the water, you just have to live with the little droopy sound for a little bit, but finally goes away. Thank God.
I think those are 2 players you don't sleep on. I realize that shooting in the water is not always super effective, and you don't want to give your position away by some shots that don't hit anything in the water, but he just absolutely waited too long there for these top 2 players, and they turned on him and got the kill. They're going to actually roll up on a player here, and I don't think they know, although there is a UAZ right parked in front of it and some loot there.
Yep, and it's Odin Thorny immediately takes down Nop Nop. He is now in blue, so it'll be up to Purdy Curdy to try and trade this one out as they are right on top of each other. 17 players remaining.
Dude, this dude's a beast.
Yeah, Odin Thor's out of control, and he gets Purdy Curdy with a grenade.
Wow. He is putting on a show right now. That was phenomenal. Two duos coming at him, and not just any duos. Some really heavy hitting duos. Right now, nobody in the circle though. They got some ground to come up on, and that's I think the hardest group that's gonna have to move on that circle is actually the group that's in the houses right now. They all have to come out of that cover. Everyone else, they're dealing with an open field, right? Like they know their situation, but those other guys are gonna have to come out of those houses, and they probably know that someone's around them.
Yeah, and it's something that happens a lot when you are holding down the same compound, which we see here in the Northeast. We have 5 players, at least. I believe it's 5 players holding down this compound. We also have a duo a little bit to the west. The compound is great when it's safe. But when you need to leave, for the most part, most squads opt to wait until the blue forces them to leave. And when that happens, you're all moving at the same time. You all run out and you look left and right, and all of a sudden you see all these people running out of the same compound with you. So everybody turns and starts shooting each other. And most of the time, they're just finished off by those that are already in the zone. So we'll have to see what happens in this situation, though, because there is only 12 alive. This is a little bit different. Having so few players left alive here. More shots coming out. Disimoto taking some damage. They're trying to move to the west. A squad is actually moving south right on top of them.
Yeah, we see Odin Thor down there in the bottom, all solo, in a really good spot. He was the first person to move in on the circle. Definitely knows where he wants to be and what kind of game he wants to play at this point. He does go back and get some loot. MLGB is going to roll up on him right now.
Yep, and they do indeed. Legendary looking for some shots here on Enzalenzo. They are both now in the blue, taking damage. Odin Thor killing off Scurry. And all of a sudden, there's 8 alive. 3 of them are outside the circle. More shots coming out. Enzalenzo dying outside the play zone. And Sevo gets Odin Thor with a quick Mini 14 headshot. Legendary dies outside the play zone. Now there's only 4. It's a 2v2. We have Sevo right now on the west side. Solace on the east. Adanius and Dag. Very familiar names once again. We're back to another similar duo. The circle will go north. And we do have cover for both teams.
Yeah, Dag and Sevo in 8th place right now. And they are sitting in a great spot to pick up some serious points. Odin Thor, I was pulling for him to take this thing solo. And he almost did it, but he's going to go down. Dag's going to go down as well.
Yeah, it would have been great if Odin Thor could pull it off. Dag has gone down. Adanius now looking for the angles. It is still a 2v2. Sevo here does have time for the res if he wants to go for it. He is safe. He can pull this res off. Just has to stick it. Adanius is going to look for the flank. So the longer he waited, the more dangerous this becomes. Adanius now moving in. They're going to try and get into the safe zone so they do not have to worry about being safe. And now it's a problem for Dag because they don't really have any cover on their side of the circle. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, they're going to have to dash in if they can. They do get the heals off. They are a bit healthy, and they get some shots off, but looks like they're going to go down again. He actually goes prone and stays alive for a moment.
Yeah, I think Dag might slightly be inside the circle here. Sevo is down. Dag immediately gets the first aid off, and here comes Solace with the flank around the south side. He is downhill. The step up, the shots, and he is removed by Solace, and that is 6 kills, your first place. Adanius and Solace in game number 1.
Yeah, and I want to point out that out of all those teams that we see there, Adanius and Solace sitting in 31st place tonight. They are in my orange section on my list. Team TMT down there in 31st place, 182 points. They're going to add 100 to that. If you look at 282 and what that means, that if no other points matter, would put them in 12th spot. So, of course, other teams picked up some points, and they all need to be added up. But that's a huge victory for those guys. And we mentioned it's not over until it's over. Those guys come up really hard. And as you see the rest of it round out, Dag and Sevo, those guys are in 8th place. They take 2nd place with 2 kills in that team. Idan and Legendary, those guys are in 9th place right now. They're going to add 3 kills and the points for 3rd place. And then you see the rest of it. Enzalendo, Jorski, Odin Thor, VZ, MLGB, and so on. These guys are really making a strong play tonight so far in week 4. Game 1. That's not all, though. We've got 2 more games coming up. We've got Gormizer coming up as well on the cast. And we will be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
That means you're extra
kick you off on your way in. But the problem is that there's enough land on that northern mass that's still encompassed here that it's going to be rough for some players to make that decision. Some players haven't even decided to make the decision to go down there. So with the way things are going, some still looking for the fight. Oh, well, apparently we were muted at the start. So going back into it, just to make sure everything's caught up to date. Game 2, we're here, we're alive, Discord's alive, game's going, people are fighting, 59 alive, circles on the bottom of the map. And I think that's everything you need to know to be up to date to this game.
Yeah, guns are being fired off. You know, there's vehicles moving. Things are happening indeed. Yes, we are in game number 2. We see Wolf here cruising on through the military base. And yeah, we were actually touching on that circle that we see right there. And this is kind of an interesting one because this always has the potential to kick it up back north. And we do see players every now and then commit to the military island, Sosnovka Island, and then kind of get a little tricked as the circle heads back north, and then they have to cross the deadly bridge or water twice. And Monotori is here. SKS. That's a 400 or 500 meter shot there.
And right to the face too. And Kala keeping track as well. Knows that nice windowed room on top is where he's going to stay. And trying to keep track to see if she sees the partner coming through. Not going to be coming in with the shots. I think maybe deciding to get aggressive with her teammate around. You kind of can play this one however you want, and being able to hover over the car. This is one of those moments where you have to make that decision, but the shots are going to be coming through right now onto the car. Just trying to find MLGB Biggie. We're not going to find any hits there. And there goes his teammate right after him in another UAZ. Yeah,
no connecting hits here. It's kind of strange. The shots looked pretty good both times around. But yeah, the SKS and car conversation, has the SKS, got some nice shots, got it down with it. But I think you got to pick up that car every time, as we see Kala do right here. Looking for another quick headshot over to the ATC tower, trying to put Monotorius down once again.
4x in this situation, pretty good to be able to at least get you to in the ballpark. An 8x would be really, really nice to get in right on their heads, and you can see that's part of the reason a lot of these shots aren't connecting. It's kind of hard to judge that distance just with this. And being able to find the shot, still looking for it down on the bottom. You see BenQ5 killing off Allode. Smithy is currently knocked down by Zyphon. So a lot that can happen in just a few moments as the fights are going on all around. And a lot of them, surprisingly enough, on the southern island.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're right here just south of the eastern bridge here. BenQ5 jumping around the gas station. They got a kill on it down. They're looking for the follow-up on the C, who is now a solo player prone, trying to met up the best he can. And this is what happens when you get the circle that's kind of split between the northern and southern islands. Everyone just accumulates to the north shore of Sosnovka and the south shore of the main island. And a lot of players in a small location. The C here looking for shots, but BenQ5 with a nice turn with the AK puts him down really quickly.
Flick of the wrist, finds the shots he needs. Now they have a car if they really want it, but being inside the circle, you have a little bit more leeway for when you want to move, whether you want to get aggressive, maybe you want to just kind of hang out. We see some teams kind of opt for both. BenQ5, probably one of the players that gets a little bit more aggressive. He likes to fight. They like to go in. They like those high kill count numbers, and he's got a pretty good build for it too. AK and the ump. And it looked like it was a silenced ump coming into it as well. So he's got that stealth factor if they really want to as well.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of interested here because, normally you have the AKs, you got the full auto ready to go. You post up on that bridge. You got two players throwing AK rounds into passing vehicles. They get melted pretty quickly. We see the vehicle explodes time and time again. But BenQ5 here, they're in a nice spot. They're west of Nova. They do have another duo pretty close, and it's actually Enzelenzo, which will be an interesting little confrontation as BenQ5 is creeping in that direction, but he just seems to be picking up a vehicle and heading out. That is not someone you want to run into when you open the door of a building. And Zelenzo's sitting there. He's got his Mini 14. He's got the M16 as well. So they look in pretty good shape as well.
A deadly combo to give the players that are in number 2 right now. Just let them have a Mini 14 and M16 and probably being really happy about it as well. They look like they have nice optics going into it. It does look like Jorsky might only be running a single gun right now, but a lot of players kind of opt for that. If they can only find an assault rifle, or if they don't want an SMG, they don't want a shotgun, they're just going to save that slot. They're not going to worry too much about it, especially when your teammate has a sniper that's allowing you to get a little bit more damage. Circle's closing in. Lush and a few others on the side of Georgia Pole, all stuck outside the circle, taking some damage. But when you're in Georgia Pole, we've had players who decide to sit up there. They want to heal for a little bit, try to loot the city as best they can, and then make their way in once the circle starts doing a little bit more damage. So it's not too surprising to see them hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're talking about before, that one gun, if it's going to be any gun and you're only going to have one, it's that M16, man. You can throw the hollow sight on it, tear people from up close, absolutely put them down, and it works beautifully with an 8X. Put the shots on a little compensator. Just a totally any situation type of gun in the M16. So if you're going to want anything, that's what it is. We see Poonage here heading to the south of military base. Now, this is the risky decision. Drass and Poonage moving to the southern side of the island. Worst case scenario, we see this circle go back north. Now, although it is unlikely, the chances are it remains on the military island. There's always a chance, and it will remain on the island, but it still shares a little bit on the northern side as we see Poonage now turn around and head back north, along with Purdy, Curdy, and Nop Nop, who are in a boat to his south, also doing the same thing.
Might have seen the way the circle changed coming into it, and they're maybe like, okay, well, second circle, and went a little bit more west. If we go to the south, we're still going to be outside. Let's just try to find some shore, maybe find a good spot. But I like Edan keeping eyes right there. That has been one of the deadliest rocks on this island, being able to come through. He's going to glance away now, but that has been one of the spots that a lot of people go to. They like to run up there. They can hide. There's a lot of little places that your body can pretty much be fully concealed from, and you can just poke out whenever you hear footsteps. So maybe keeping an eye on that side of the shore isn't too bad for the team here.
Yeah, on the northern side of Sosnovka Island, you do have this beach here to the northwest, and right where that beach ends, all the way to the west, you have those rocks, and a lot of players love to park the boats right there. They love to pull up and stop right there so they have cover to their right as they're pulling up on the shore. That way, they only have one place to go. They don't have to worry about too much, and they have some quick cover if they start taking shots in those rocks up there. So it is always a good idea to keep an eye on that. Now, over in Ferry Pier, we see Kartoffel here moving around. He's got the SCAR. He's got the M16. He hears Katie Cakes and Zom in a box cruising up in their UAZ. He's going to look and just make sure that they stay off of his land.
And this is going to be probably the more precarious situation, honestly, for both teams coming into it. It looks like Bukas Gaming is also going to be getting a little aggressive, but it doesn't look like they recognize anyone's nearby. The car, Zom in a box, as well as Katie Cakes, both going to be making some noise, but I think they're going to be able to get out of this one. They're both about half health, so they don't really want to heal, and they need to find a good spot to hide out, just because with a crate right here, Poonage, he's going to be kind of open to anybody. That boat's going to be left open to anybody. Anyone can snipe him. But if they're under the bridge, you can still be spotted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's really a safe area in a circle like this, especially when you are anywhere near the bay. It is just a huge collection of players moving back and forth. And even those that get on Sosnovka Island to the southern island, they stay towards the northern side for the most part, unless you're Lush here as they're cruising down, trying to get around a little bit. They're actually still in blue. Is this? Oh, they're around Melta Power right now. They haven't not even made it into the first circle. Probably taking a bit from the Lippo area around the power plant, and they'll head into the east. They'll be the good news is they'll be able to stop, heal up completely uncontested.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, is whether or not they found the heals. If they do have them, then it's going to be easy for them to just go ahead and get on in there. If they don't, they are going to be in it for the long run. They are going to be looking for a fight almost immediately, only because if you're, one of those players that likes to get aggressive, you can usually kill someone and take the meds that they have if you have never found any. But you have to be a good shot. Lush, one of the players that is definitely a good shot, so shouldn't be too worried about that, except for the health bars going into it. Right now, the interesting thing to me is going to be seeing where these players decide to hold up, because like we had mentioned early on, with that circle and the way that it's continued to spawn, there's still sides on either side of the bay going up. You can be on the northern island, maybe kind of near the lighthouse. You can hold out in some of the houses around there, or you could be down here a little bit north of the military base. There's some houses, there's some forests, all prime for you to be able to hide into. But the shots are going to be coming in, and they're going to be able to find it. Aksu TV taken down here by Jorsky.
Yeah, Jorsky and Encelenzo here, they're jumping around, they're looking for players, they're trying to make sure they're safe. And Aksu actually got incredibly close to them before he was noticed. There's a little bit of a defilade there, but put down pretty quickly. They'll make it out okay. Quick kill. A little added point here as we see Disimoto here silenced Mini 14, which just totally sounds like a normal Mini 14. cruising into the zone. It's just, I don't know. There's something about it where you put the silencer and you're like, oh, all right, that sounds a little different. Like,
something wrong with my headphones? Like,
yeah, like I don't think that's silenced, but okay. Still 54 players alive, though. We do have 2 still hanging out in North George, and it's Blastic and Slex here. Blastic picking up all the meds you possibly can. You can pretty much chain med in North George for all of eternity if you want to. There is so much loot, just constantly looting for first aids.
The problem I have with this, especially at this point, is this circle's closing. Once it closes, it's going to be hitting a lot harder. You're going to have a lot more meds because you still have to take the travel time into consideration as well. So these players, they're cutting it close, not only just in the fact that they're still outside the circle, but that they're going to be out the circle for a while, as we have a crate landing just inside. It looks like it's going to be a nice one, too. Level 3 helmet, a compensator for an AR, and an M24. A lot of these players love their snipers. And,
the M24 is just it's a beautiful thing, the M24. It is just, everything about the gun is fantastic. Coming with the level 3 helmet, throwing 8 times on that, you're just going to be putting players down left and right. But yeah, about the North George thing, there is a bit of a game exploit currently that it is possible in duos. It's actually quite simple in squads that you could hypothetically walk around, loot North George for the entirety of the game and get a guaranteed second place because you can sit in there and you can actually chain first aid through if you commit all your meds to one person. So I have seen it before. Most teams would opt to move because you can't win the game from up there. It's absolutely impossible, but you can last till the final circle, just chain healing over and over here. We have Zyphon actually downed. Looks as though they may have taken a Car 98 shot. H-Rite a little far behind. So they might be able to push on this and get the kill as we see Shulk creeping up on his wounded prey.
The big thing for positioning from H-Rite right here is he actually has vision on this building. So if Shulk goes in the wrong way, the shots are going to be coming through. And right now you can hear him flying in just to try and hit Shulk. But the pan, I heard one dink coming through. And now the shots are going to be going towards H-Rite. He gave away his position. And he's going to take a lot of damage just for that little bit of trouble. You were right. Car 98. I see a Mini 14 over there as well. Shulk as well as his teammate looking and just holding patiently. But the SKS going to be good, trying to find the shots they need. And H-Rite just wants to save his teammate.
Yeah, H-Rite actually connected with a nice, quick SKS shot there on the Shulk, but was immediately hit in a return, dangerously low. Once again, I'm surprised, though. We do have, Shulk here with a Car 98 and a Mini 14. The sniper-sniper combo. Not great for pushing in that building, which makes me understand why they are staying out here. But this is one of those situations, I think, that, like, it's easy to push a 2v1 here. You could pop the grenades in, you could pop it out, but Mini 14 probably not the optimal firearm for breaching a building.
See, I was actually looking at the grenades. Once we switched back to Shulk, I was like, okay, there's a frag. There's at least one frag that you are holding to go. Right now. You might as well go on in. Like, that's 100%. That's a go from me. Get in there and start fighting. He's actually going to go ahead and go up now and cook it, waiting through the window.
Oh, an easy grenade kill. Yep.
Kobe right through the window.
Yeah, that's all it takes. That's the worst thing, the weakest part of those wizard towers, whatever you want to call them, is the fact that if you're not in that tiny little room on the second floor, any grenade for the most part that's thrown in will kill most of, if not all of the players inside. So it's unfortunate for H-Rite, but the cook was right, and it was a nice toss, and he is killed off fairly quickly in this game. Adanius here we switched to Nop Nop actually up the hill on Adanius. He's looting up a little bit. Level 3 helmet himself. Car 98. A lot of Car 98s and minis in this game.
Yeah, a lot of luck from the players coming down to it, and they're going to be able to use that as they want. You do see Reum taking some shots, going to be able to kill off Dalicat and Young Modern. They're going to be eliminated. And I was actually just kind of impressed. Dalicat, the way he was playing, he shot out, killed a driver of a vehicle. I didn't catch the name, but it's one of those things I'm always ever so impressed by the gun control that a lot of these top players are able to kind of exhibit. Just being able to watch them fire like 10, 15 shots in a couple seconds, but still have the gun pretty much aiming wherever they need to. And it's always the motto of whatever shots you don't take, you miss every shot you don't take. So you might as well go ahead and slam all of them out there as this circle's closing in. And a lot of players still had to move. Now finally stuck in these situations where if they move, they are going to get shot at.
Yeah, and it's getting a little intense here in the south. Now, this is direct south of the zone. This is pretty much as south gets. But as we head a little bit to the west here, the southwest area, a lot of squads that have moved up that originally chose the southern side of Sosnovka Island now have to move up in here. It's getting a little bit crowded. Purdy Curdy, Nop, Monotorious, Kartoffel, all down in the southwest.
Just having a party, and they're ready to make it pop off as they come forward. But the question is, who will be able to come out on top? A lot of these players that moved up a little bit earlier have the advantage of having that cover, having some buildings that they can kind of wait in, as Purdy Curdy looking for some damage. I always like watching when the player zooms in, you can see they know exactly where they need to, going to be taking the shots, trying to find the kill, not going to find any hits until those last two. That tree is the savior of life right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a horrible situation when you and your teammate are sharing the same cover, and that's what's happening right now. We see Purdy Curdy just peek, get an easy angle, a quick tap to down Monotorious with the quick M4 headshots, and now his teammate just kind of sitting there. You can go for the res, but they just find a quick angle, and there you go. Monotorious is taken down easily. So now it's all up to Tomchi, all by his lonesome behind a tree and getting flanked by both players.
Not only that, but with the shots being fired, there's also a couple players behind them that may or may not notice, and it looks like he's taking some fire a lot, but the kill is going to come down from Purdy Curdy. He's going to recognize, I think, that there were some other shots coming from a little bit to the west, maybe looking northwest from him, but he's going to be going up. The circles changed from where they were, and they're looking to try and reposition to get into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it will no longer be safe at all on the northern island. So we do have a couple swimmers heading in that direction. A lot of deaths over by Oz here. So they seem to have taken off a squad. We'll have a team come across the western bridge into military. And yeah, we are down to pretty much just one small collection of buildings and a lot of hills and trees for cover as we get in here. 28 players alive. Nobsy goes down to Oz as well. We see some medding here. And look at how close Blackie is to Sleuthy and Kramer here of Aether United.
This is probably one of my favorite things about this game. A lot of people, especially in first person, they've recognized how strong prone can be. Sleuthy not looking on the ground, not keeping track of that. Just to your right, the shots are going to come through. He's getting hit, and he's going to go down just like that. And now Blackie's giving away his position. He's going to be waiting. Kramer is just over the hill, but with some frags, you can at least clean up the one.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the problem right now. Sleuthy, your first thing if you're cash is, all right, where did he shoot you from? And Sleuthy's like, I have no idea. I heard the shots. They came from northeast, but he was prone. And there you go. Almost recovered there by Cash as he was able to get a quick player down. But now he's going to have to try and crawl into the zone here. Eating blue damage while being picked up is very dangerous for Blackie. He has to jump up, pop a quick bandage, and then immediately a first aid after, where this blue will tick down once again. Purdy Curdy also killing off Legendary with the M4. So another nice kill out of Purdy.
Looking to be just inside the circle. It looks like teammates down. Nop going to be walking in slowly, crawling in ever so slowly. But they're going to have some decent cover to be able to get this. The circle's not quite on them yet, so they don't have to rush just as badly. But we can see right there waiting for them just on the inside of the circle is going to be another player, and they're both going to be just low enough health that could be an easy 1v2 taken, depending on how it looks like STG Geno wants to take this one. Nop going to be running in, going to get knocked down. One shot, one kill. Purdy Curdy going to be able to take him out, but now him and his teammate both locked outside the blue, going to be taking that damage. And they have to wonder whether or not they're going to be able to be safe enough that they can loot, heal, and get to the next circle.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that you do need to worry about. Nop, unfortunately, dying off into the blue. Oz here taking some angles, looking for Purdy Curdy. It's a fear for a lot of these players. You need to find your opportunity to move. And a lot of the time it goes away very, very quickly. Either you go early or you wait till the blue is chasing after you. And it's a really, really scary decision. And of course, when you're trying to move and you don't have meds for it and you really have to stay ahead of the blue, it's just that much more stressful.
Bin Q5 looking for some shots. This is going to be, I think, my circle for the night just coming down. This is a very open area on the map. There's not a lot of trees to come through, and the hills aren't like some of the hills you'll find on that northern island where there's a lot that you can kind of hide into. You can duck down and be safe. This is going to be a lot of whoever gets seen first is probably going to take the spill first unless they're able to just react instantly coming into it. And having, I think, some of the safest cover. There's only one tree really inside this part of the circle. And so being able to kind of hold on to this, but the shore is going to be a danger as well, just because it is open, but it does give you just a little bit of an advantage because it is kind of sloped down.
Yeah, I would actually really like to see PJV here kind of push over towards those players in the water. One of the biggest weaknesses that you have if you are a player in the water is when you get out of the water, it is incredibly, incredibly awkward. Pulling your gun up is a problem. Taking shots is a problem. Being able to crouch is a problem. And by going over there and pressuring the team on your side of the zone, you're clearing it out and you have that much more cover, that much more space that you do not need to worry about. So they're opting not to go for the push here, which is totally fine. It's totally up to them. But it's something that I would have liked to see, especially as Jamesy Boy. Like, what do? They're just swimming around. They can't do anything until they step out of this water into absolutely no cover.
And they have the ability to play it safe and kind of sit down in the water. Maybe they think, okay, we can't get hit while we're under here. That's going to be enough for us. But they do have to move forward at some point. They're going to take damage either from the circle or from whoever is going to be laying in wait. And we do see PJV going to be able to spot them, potentially waiting for it as the circle's closing. A lot of players thinning down, 15 left as we see Blastic taken down outside the zone. See Jamesy Boy as well. Blackie was taken out just before that. And they're just trying to get it in. And Shadow's taking a lot of fire from pretty much every angle.
Yeah, this is a tough circle. No cover. QFT's Ego here actually in the center of the circle. You would think it's a good spot, but in this situation, every single squad can look into that small, tiny little hut that they have for cover. They are the only ones in the zone, though, as we see McSmackle going out. Oz getting down with a frag grenade by Zombinabox, who's still alive. So Zombinabox and Katie Cakes still pushing through the end of this game with only 12 players alive.
Stuck in a precarious situation, though, because they do have to move forward. This circle, like we had said, there's not a lot of cover. They're in pretty much some of the only cover, and they have to leave it. The next circle, pretty much going to be the same as what they were just looking at. There is virtually no cover. There's the shack in the middle, and you know there's a team already in it, whether or not you've seen them. There's a couple rocks. It looks like maybe another. No, that one's just outside as well. So there's a lot of nothing to hide behind
couple
here.
Blades of grass over here.
I can lay down in this bush and hope that someone just thinks it's a rendering error. Like maybe come in, their graphics are just low enough that I look like a bush, but with the way things are going, this is going to be the roughest spot. And you can see a lot of players, they're timid to move because they recognize they're going to get shredded if they step out.
Yeah, it's a really interesting zone, and this causes a lot of players to wait until the blue forces them to move. So we'll see a lot is of running and gunning. We'll see players sprinting into the zone once the blue starts moving, immediately crouching down, pulling out those guns and trying to tap down the opponents who are running at the same time as quickly as possible. It gets very violent. We see a lot of players dying off, but hopefully those of which with the best gun skill make it out. Shadow's here still okay. And I wouldn't be surprised if Shadow's finds his way into the zone to sneak through. The blue is now moving in. Zombinabox and Katie Cakes moving. They're taking insane fire from the south. Katie Cakes opts to stop, and that is exactly what you want to see. Stopping, take out the 4 times, putting down Oz, and trying to get into the zone. Zombinabox, teammate, unfortunately, will also die outside the play zone. So they don't make it in, but I love the way they did that. Able to get a quick down. Fire Official finds the cannon, puts the headshot on easily, and he will find his way into the zone as well. And we're down to 6.
And 6 players left, and you can see Fire Officials looking for blood just barely inside the circle, and you can see the issues coming down right here. There's a couple hills. There's some grass. That's it. That's all that stands between these players and their deaths. And it looks like a 2v2, v1v1 coming through. Shadow's on the one side left by himself, committing Jamesy Boy. Going to be holding out just there inside the circle. They were able to make it out of the water. And we do see that shack, one shack so far, has made it through these last 3 circles. And it's still being dominated by one team who at this point have probably the strongest advantage you could have in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at the little bit of defilade there that they have to their north as well. All of the teams are to their north. Except one direct west, which is Fire Official. They're actually opting to leave and move and play this small little ridge here, which is very interesting and probably the greatest thing that has ever happened in Shadow's game, because he should have a nice clear path into the zone now, right to that hut for cover.
This is an interesting play just because being able to move over to the ridge. When you see the shack, you see it's inside, you're thinking, okay, there's a team in there. Like whether or not you've seen someone in there, that's your initial worry. Whether or not Shadow's has actually seen them leave, he has a Molotov that he can maybe throw to try and force anyone who was in there out. But if he goes for the safe play, which is there's a team in there, he's just going to give away his position, which is going to allow the rest to kind of capitalize on that. And it looks like he has the molly out. He's ready to go. He sees the dead bodies. The question is, what are they going to do? None of the players moving again, similar to last time. They're not going to move unless they're forced. And the blue forcing up Fire Official, and he's going to be able to find the shots right there. Jamesy Boy going to get killed, or going to have the kill there. And they're going to let it down to 5 left.
Yep, Jamesy Boy now in pretty good position. Sideline right there. He actually saw a sideline for a second, but didn't quite connect on it. And then he doesn't, immediately puts him down. And look, it's Shadox. Shadox is now in a 1v1 as Jamesy Boy's team is down. Oh, and he sees him. He spots him out. He takes the shots. He put him on. But no, Shadox is able to clutch the win.
That was the case of, I can see a sliver of you. You can see a sliver of me. And we are going to just barely trade that one out. Shadox, 1 kill, but it's the only one that matters. It's the final kill.
Absolutely. What a final play there. Shadox actually opting to just take his time, patience, sneaking into the zone. We had the 2 players that were in that hut, them moving out, setting Shadox up. He had a nice, clean path in. And then he nabs the 1v1 at the end, gets the victory. Very well done. Shadox and PJV666 taking first place.
And just looking, I'm just scrolling down the leaderboard right now to kind of look at it. These guys weren't top 10. These guys were maybe top 20, coming into it. And when it comes down to it, that just shows the competitive level. You're getting those points. You're being able to pull your team up in the standings. And we've mentioned that a few times, but going over the prizes these guys are competing for. This is week 4. Next week, I believe, is the last week of competition. So they have 4 games left in total to be able to prove themselves into the top 3. First place is going to get 2 ViewSonic XG 2530 244 hertz gaming monitors. Second place is going to be able to get Cooler Master Master Keys Pro S keyboards, and third place is getting Cooler Master Master Mouse MM520 mice. So you're coming away with something as long as you're in the top 3. You're going to come away with pride if you're at least in the top 5. But obviously the prizes are a little bit better than pride, but the players still have the chance to compete for it as they come through. We're going to take a break after game number 2, and we'll be back with game number 3 shortly.
Babe, it's time to get up.
Can't be that time already.
Come on, you know you're gonna have a busy day today.
No, I know. I'ma get up. But you know, I think it's gonna be a real good morning, yo. I feel it. Yeah, alarm buzzing, I think it's time that I wake up. Singing in the shower while my girl does her makeup. Kiss on the cheek while I wish her a good day. She handed me my iPod and said, damn, I love you, babe. Popped in my headphones and started my walk. I would've went for a drive, but my whip's in the shop. Look at the clock, 7:45. Looks like I'm running late again. Always trying my luck, but you gotta play to win. I really need one, fighting these demons. Be prepared, life changes like the seasons. I adapt to rap schemes and flash things that I got from music, plus all the problems that cash brings. That's expected when you trying to be great. Just know I give it my all, I know that y'all can relate. I feel the weight, but I just keep pushing. Music is here to help me like a good woman. See, I could never do none of this on my own. Glad that I found a place that I could call home. A comfy bed that I could fall on. Keep dreaming until the day that they come true. Live and learn, enjoy the life that you go through. Never worry, cause you know that I'm blessed. Keep my head up, cause you know that I'm blessed. Moving forward, cause you know that I'm blessed. Spreading love, cause you know that I'm blessed. No matter the test, you know that I'ma give it my best. Come on, never worry, cause you know that I'm blessed. Keep my head up, cause you know that I'm blessed. Moving forward, cause you know that I'm blessed. Spreading love, cause you know that I'm blessed. No matter the test, you know that I'ma give it my best. Come on, you know what they say, good things take time. Seems we always in a rush, but never opened our eyes to see things grow. Take things slow, young boy exploring the world and be home before them street lights show. Been on the road since them old days. Kenji serving up rhymes like a buffet. Staying humble because that's how I was raised. Finding ways that was different. That ain't the hard part, it's staying consistent, but damn. Life seems to catch me in a bad place, but I'll wait till my spirit starts to levitate. We reach for the peak, trying to find something new. Finally off of work, time to do what I do. Locked in the stew, relieving all my stress in the booth. Shit never gets old, I just love coming home to you. This love in my heart is something I wanna pass to you. The flame lives on, I'll be here when all else is gone. Yeah, cause fam is real, the bond is still. You know my team keep it vintage like a Coupe de Ville. Feels great that I finally found a place of my own. Kick my feet up, can't do no wrong. As long as I'm home, never worry cause you know that I'm blessed. Keep my head up cause you know that I'm blessed. Moving forward cause you know that I'm blessed. Spreading love cause you know that I'm blessed. No matter the test, you know that I'ma give it my best. Come on, never worry cause you know that I'm blessed. Keep my head up cause you know that I'm blessed. Moving forward cause you know that I'm blessed. Spreading love cause you know that I'm blessed. No matter the test, you know that I'ma give it my best. Come on.
doubts and fears, don't make it up, cause you are what you feel. Speaking up, preaching a mass appeal, just leave it up and fulfill your dream. Just throw it up, all your doubts and fears, don't make it up, cause you are what you feel. Speaking up, preaching a mass appeal, just leave it up and fulfill your dream. Don't you try to get a reason for your fight. Don't you wanna see another side? Pray for your people, stay away from the circle. Prisoner from the city, get them chair. Realize we're in the same team, hurry up. We're surrounded by the extremes, should wake up before you get more tears. Just throw it up, all your doubts and fears, don't make it up, cause you are what you feel. Speaking up, preaching a mass appeal, just leave it up and fulfill your dream. Just throw it up, all your doubts and fears, don't make it up, cause you are what you feel. Speaking up, preaching a mass appeal, just leave it up and fulfill your dream. Oppression in your place tonight, no one's coming from outside, and you're still in a crazy and real tragedy, away from what you feel. Focus on your travel low, don't you know? Listen up to the magical, lyrical, not just show up and out like a miracle. Remember you when I just adore.
Hey everyone, we are back now with game number 3 coming into tonight's Dropzone 1. Coming into it, as you can tell by the 1, maybe some more in the future. If you want to be able to be a part of those, make sure you can give a drop a follow on here on social media, also PUBGLeague.gg in case you want to be able to keep track of that. But going back into the game, my name is Gormizer. Joining me this time on the virtual desk is going to be Heyday, returning after game number 1 and a short break. How you doing, dude?
Very well. This is super exciting to see how this is playing out. We see the plane coming in from a completely different direction. PUBG is really doing us a real treat tonight in just the finishes we've seen, the action we've seen, and the leaderboard shakeups we've seen. We've been following this from the first week, from the teams that have just raced out into first place, like Totality 2 with Nop Nop and Purdy Curdy. They've been sitting up there for a really long time. And while these other teams are doing a great job of getting in the top 10, top 5, and doing their best to try and knock them out, nobody has yet. But after the first game, we saw some of the teams that were in the lower part of that top 10 making their way up to the 3rd, 4th spot, and some teams going down. But in that last game, and you called this at the end of it, the teams that were in the top 5 of that last game, they weren't in the top 10, except for Smithy and DeCannon, who are in 9th place. So they're going to move up a little bit as well. So as we've said time and time again, nobody is out of this thing just yet. We had Tank Kang, and we had Deus Volt, Sixth Sense, and Salt and Pepper Esports, or rather MVW, with PJV, Jamesy Boy, Fire Official, and Zago, and then Smithy at the top there, getting some really big finishes in that last game and really shaking things up. It goes back and forth from game to game, not just in the drops, the flight paths, the action, but in also who's winning these things and how they do it.
Yeah, it's keeping everything as close as possible and going through. And of course, one thing that would keep things just as close as possible, and I would love it, would be if we could go in and see a nice southwestern or southeastern circle right here. Just cause a lot of havoc for the players. Drop it down right there where there is absolutely no one. But we'll be seeing that one shortly. There's a lot of players that spread out. They've actually got a pretty good spread off of that initial plane, not covering a lot of the land. And a lot of them have landed, got their vehicles. They're going down and going to loot. Lipovka, Prison, Milta, all of these are going to be open for a while. But the first circle kind of dictates where you want to go, as we have 2 teams in school, a lot less than you'll see in your normal games, but you'll be happy in a nice centralized circle. Not going to cause the havoc I wanted, but we'll probably see some fights anyway.
Yeah, this definitely did them a favor. I think because that first circle is so light to the touch that a lot of teams kind of just disregard it and go wherever they want, and then they make up their ground. And this is actually very important early action here, as we see VZ there, who's on Team Alliance, is actually knocked down. Those guys are currently sitting in 5th place. So if they go out early, this could be another shakeup. Odin Thor also very low on health.
Looking to try and find the finalized kills. They're going to be going in. Dalicat in a corner by himself. Vector going through, but he's going to get knocked down there by VZ. Odin Thor going to be able to come into the room. They're going to take him out, no problem. And they know that his teammate's somewhere in the school. And
I mean,
they're waiting.
Sorry, Gord. That's it right there. In a nutshell, why these guys are constantly finishing in the top 5 or so is they are in a situation getting pushed on, very low on health, getting knocked down again here. But in the first place, they managed to get that kill. And that's a very big kill when it looked like they may be taken out early. Young Modern healing up now. And a lot of action early on. But just crazy shakeups in the leaderboard. It's really just so hard to call who you think will finish in these top 3 spots at this point, because it's really anybody's game, even beyond the top 12. The top 12 at the moment is where you're hitting down to like the 300-point zone. And now after that last game, some more points added. So I would say around the top 12 is the really sweet spot you want to be in right now. But the teams that are right below that are not out as well. This is very exciting here as we're in game 3 of week 4 and have 1 week left.
And, something that's really important, especially in a scenario, especially when you only have 1 week left to come into this, 3 more games after this one has completed, you have to look at the fact that you need better vision, better control, and better aim. And when it comes down to it, some of the things that could help you with that would be maybe some ViewSonic monitors, Coolmaster keyboards, or Cooler Master mice, which are all going to be our prizes. It's all being provided very nicely by ViewMaster and ViewSonic and Cooler Master. How about? And being able to come into it. A lot of these players would like that tech. A lot of these players would like those upgrades to be able to come in and potentially compete in future tournaments a little bit happier with what they've gotten, as we have some kills coming through. Insolinso I see down in the bottom left, killing off halfway hero. It looks like Jorski run around over here with a Tommy gun by his lonesome. No, not by his lonesome. Insolinso is going to be the one he's running towards, and they just cleared out a team.
Yeah, Jorski and Solenzo sitting tied for second right now. We have a tie for second. This is how crazy these points are adding up here. Sauna Boys and Easy Riders tied for second, both with 422 points apiece, with Totality 2 sitting in first place.
But I thought kills didn't matter.
Oh, exactly.
They make a difference. They make a difference. They genuinely make a difference in these games.
They absolutely do. And you could see that both of these teams are in it. So is Totality 2. And this is where these guys really have to solidify that top spot. But as we've seen early, that anybody can go out early. Even the best of the best can get caught in a bad situation and go out early. We've also seen some crazy car plays. We see Legendary drive by there. It's definitely a risk in this league play to drive a car, in my opinion. But some of the players are willing to take that risk to get in a more advantageous spot.
I'm kind of interested in seeing what exactly Odin Thor and VZ are going to do. Known for their aggression, getting a lot of kills, and just playing their minds out a lot of the time, they are going to be caught out right here. VZ's still looking around. They know someone was around the school. They know there was still at least one player who's hanging around, but they're not looking in the right area. Young Modern over here going to have a distinct advantage because he sees them jumping out of the window and going around the building. All it takes is a couple shots.
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't have anything equipped on that rifle, so he's going to be shooting down the iron sights, if shooting at all, but he definitely does have a bead on them. You can see still a centralized circle. We got some action here. Scurry goes down, and it looks like Biggie gets Ben Q. Some trading there between those two teams.
But the knockout's going to be big here for the MLGB squad, being able to pick Scurry right back up, and they can come in, loot, maybe get some meds they may not have had. They get to come see another day. Bin Q5 going to be taken down, which is a big one here, specifically because that's another set of players, another team that has always been a big aggressor, and a big one early on, as we see Zamanabox and Katie Cakes, one down, going to be picked up, but they're going to be aggressed in on Disimoto, opening the door. They're waiting, they're watching patiently, trying to keep track of this. Katie Cakes is one hit away. If Disimoto goes in and doesn't look at her, there's a chance he's going to get gunned down from two sides. He's trying to get that angle, but he's not able to find it. His teammate going for the other door, going to be able to find the shots, knock down Katie Cake. Disimoto goes in, looks for the one shot to try and get the clear, but now they know there's two teams right here, two players right here. Disimoto going to be coming through, but Zamanabox not going to be able to find the kills on the Hellpander that he needs. And coming down, Hellpander comes out on top of that one. And unfortunately for Katie Cakes, she's going to be dead. Same for Zamanabox.
That was played really well. And I'm not sure, hard to tell if it was intentionally or not, but the shots didn't come from the push on the shotgun, as you saw. The shots came from a different angle, which actually pulled Katie Cakes out into view. It was very nicely played, and they come out with the win and take that compound. You could see this circle is very, very friendly, all the way up to 70 there, and even allowing teams to loot Georgia Pole, the apartments up there, the crates, and we even have some teams down south that are going to easily make their way in this first circle. Very, very friendly in Game 3.
Yeah, being able to kind of keep it so we have, I want to say, higher numbers when we get towards the end here, just because when we see these circles get smaller, the more people there are, the more action there is. So while we've already seen quite a few just kind of spars, I want to say, all across the map, we are going to start seeing more bloodbaths and ravages coming through, as it looks like VZ and Odenthor finally leaving the school did not get shut down by Young Modern, and they're going to be able to kind of walk away. And we had mentioned earlier that while Young Modern was in a good position to maybe try and fight, maybe get the drop on them, he was stuck in a position where he didn't have anything to equip. He didn't have any scopes specifically to find the shots that he would have felt comfortable with. And now he's actually going to be running right into Rozhak, potentially into, it looked like, Kramer's lap, as well as Schultz.
Yeah, he was lucky to get out of there. I think it would have been potentially a mistake with no attachments on that gun to try and take those shots from range. We have some more action going down here, and Zyphon's going to kill Jamesy Boy, and H. Wright is going to take out Commit. And those guys are sitting up there as well, definitely in contention territory. Definitely a team that we see some high kill counts from time to time, which is helping them secure their spot in the leaderboard and work their way up. Nicely played there. Definitely a good push. And the duos, you just really see this great teamwork come into play in so many situations like this. I absolutely love it. I think duos is growing to be my favorite mode in this game, just for the fact that it's those two people coordinating on very tight angles. Once you go beyond that into squads, it's a lot of coverage that you can expect from those players, or a lot more at least. Duos has to be just so tight and precise, and compared to solos, which is solos on its own, and you don't have those team pop-offs and those potential knockdowns and the baits and the pushing in by your teammate. So I don't know. In my opinion, duos is really just starting to take a special place in my heart, just from the action we've seen here over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot. It's that two-man army feel that you're going to be able to get. The comms are clean, concise. They're being able to kind of get the point across and try to get each other like on the same page as fast as possible without having to spend so much time explaining it. You're just going to say, hey, enemies 15. Teammate's going to be able to look over there. You're going to be able to spot them, hopefully take them down together. As right now, it looks like Young Modern looking to try and spot out Kramer or anyone at this point coming in or out of Rozhak. As we see a couple other players running all alone. Dawcannon looks like he is without Smithy, but Smithy's still alive, just somewhere else on the map. They're not too far away from each other in the vehicles. They can just drive up and meet up. But they do run the risk of getting eliminated separately.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that pays off for them, because so far, at least here in PUBG League, we've seen when players split up, they don't usually fare so well. That said, though, these players are very good players. Not to say that the other players weren't, but these players are players that I think have the confidence to hold themselves on their own. And we do know Smithy was the #1 overall in our solos league. So that solos gameplay may be coming into effect there as he goes off on his own. Spectating Saluthi now. And the teams are starting to get pushed a bit more south. Rozhawk and Pachinki there starting to really come into play at this point.
A lot of interesting cover through this kind of central portion of the map. You got a lot of trees, you got a lot of hills, and quite a few cities and buildings as well to potentially go through. As it looks like Lush going to be taking some shots, going to be able to get a knockout. At least one of him is going to be able to find the knockout onto Kartoffelsuppe, who's going to be stuck on the ground over there near the rocks as the team is looking for the last few shots, but they aren't going to be able to find that just yet, just because the way things are going, that vehicle goes a little bit faster than their feet can run, so they're not going to be able to find the return hits. But they are watching patiently to see if maybe the player gets out, comes back, and goes over the hill, tries to peek them and find some kills. And it does look like Bukas has gotten out, is going to turn around, and potentially look for the fight to try and avenge his teammate.
Yeah, some interesting action coming together in some of the outskirts spots. And that's what I also love about the circle action in the mid and late game is that while you see these teams and these players, these duos that are finding really comfortable spots in the middle, especially with such a central circle, the outskirts start to become the hotbed for gunplay and gunfire as teams try and push their way in. Buka's trying to get an eyeball here on a team that is in a compound right now. It looks like that's Lush and his teammate. And he knows they're there somewhere, but doesn't exactly have a bead on them just yet.
And this is going to be probably a good spot for him because it's hard to hit him. He's up in the tree, so he might be safe. But at the same time, it's a rough spot for him because he only has a little bit of cover per tree versus these houses that we're going to have Lush at. And he's going to be able to come through, find some nice shots, going to be able to find 2 immediately, but looking for the last one, not able to hit it. The prone just a little bit strong right now for Bukas. He's going to be able to potentially heal up, but they know where he is. They know they can rush him down, and we see exactly that. David on the side looking to flank while Lush drawing his attention. He's going to be turning to shoot, going to find a couple hits. The problem is this entire time he has a player running up to his side and behind, and he's looking to get blindsided almost instantly. He's going to take the shots down. Lush going to be able to get the kill. The loot's going to go to David.
What a flank on that one. And what just great bait and distraction by Lush out there to get all eyes on him. We got some action in the middle of the map. Zyphil takes out Solus with a headshot and takes out Adanus as well. And this is a nice pickup for them. 41 left alive now. They've got their pick of vehicles. They've got a nice little compound in the middle of the map to hold down if they like. Although it looks like some teams moving in that direction. There's a crate as well there for the picking.
One of the interesting things I think about a lot of these areas for the map is going to be the fact that these crates can spawn, and they just spawn in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes players do notice them, sometimes they don't. MK14 going to be sitting in this one with a level 3 vest. It has a stock as well, just in case anyone wants that. Was 60 shots in an MK14. It's going to be one of the stronger rifles coming into this, and one of the only assault rifle, actually. Not the only assault rifle, but one of the only assault rifles you can grab from a crate. And it's going to be sitting there right nice in the middle. And MK14 isn't necessarily enough to turn the tide of a game. It's not an AWM. It's not necessarily an M24 either. But it's still enough to give at least one player a small edge going forward. It's going to be a little bit better to compete with things like the Mini 14, depending on how these players are playing.
Yeah, it's a nice pickup at that point. We see Odin Thor here. These guys are still impressing us with this late gameplay, this mid to late gameplay, where they are surviving now. I believe he does have his teammate. He is taking some shots now, though, so he does need to be careful.
A little bit of damage just over the hill from 2 other players. Kala's sitting right there, waiting, along with their teammate. VZ and Odin Thor are hanging around, but the question is whether or not they want to get aggressive. They have been known to get aggressive, and they're actually going to throw a flashbang out, maybe looking to try and fight into that. I'm not entirely sure who threw that out, but the shots are going to be coming down. Kala forced to fall behind the rock and heal. It looks like VZ is going to be keeping some track on there. And while he's separated from his teammate, I like the way they're playing this. One with a scope, keeping it long range. One going in with a grenade to try and keep it close and close knit to try and fight as best they can. But it looks like Odin Thor still hovering, trying to figure out whether or not it's safe to run up.
Yeah, and after the game Odin Thor had on his own solo without VZ in there with him and won 1v2s, it would be very easy for him to be super confident right now and want to push in on this, but he's still playing the game that they've set out to play with proper flanks and a good push on this team that's very slow and calculated, as you mentioned, with the use of grenades and some potential possibilities to flush them out. It looks like VZ flanks all the way around and does get the kill.
Actually finds Monotorious, of all people. Kala still untouched.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Hearing some of those shots, flanks around and finds a different team, but the question is going to be for VZ and Odin Thor whether or not they think that was the people they were stalking initially. If they come through, they find a kill. It's just in the area that if they were running away, it's potential they could mistake that. They're both going to be just inside this newly spawned circle. There's a few players on the west-hand side going to be running as fast as they can. Pochinki still only touched, it looks like, by one team overall, but potentially going to have a few more visiting as they pass through and come to try to collect themselves inside this new circle.
Yeah, everyone over there in a pretty safe spot. Even in Pochinki there, they have plenty of time to move. The circle is going to start hitting a bit higher. And I do want to give a shout out of respect to the players that are wearing these flamboyant outfits, these purple suits and these yellow jumpsuits, because this is the true come at me, bro mentality that I like to see in competitive gaming, where you're not concerned about your perfect camouflage outfit and you're out here to really come out and take on the other teams.
But now the shot's being thrown down. Wolf going to be turning their attention away from Odin Thor and VZ, and they're going to be finding two players stuck in a hut. Both going to be able to get the heals off, but they are trying to find the aggression. Only with an AK. Has a nice 8x on there to be able to find those shots, and he's going to get fine headshots through there as well. But they still have the opportunity to heal. They're still in this shack. And depending on what Wolf and Kala want to do, they might be able to go in and find a nice grenade because they're keeping them pinned down in there. So depending on how the team flanks, they can go for it. But the shot's still good from Wolf, at least to keep the players healing.
Yeah, absolutely. What I like also, too, and take note if you're new to PUBG, is Wolf there, at least a moment ago, was landing these really nice shots. It sounds like a car is actually rolling up right now. Or maybe a plane flying overhead, rather. But he's also checking his flank, because in first-person perspective, you don't have so much information around you, and it's easy to get in these firefights and find yourself in this extreme tunnel vision where you're not checking your six. He was doing a great job of doing that. Right now, it looks like they're just trying to finish these guys off, as they're doing a great job staying alive and healing in there, sort of pinned down like fish in a barrel.
Yeah, pincered right now. Wolf kind of holding the one side, stopping them from being able to get into their own vehicle. Kala coming forward and being able to stop them from running around the other side as well. So being able to keep those shots down, knocked down on the ground, and potentially a kill. Jorski is barely alive. There is no red on there, but he is getting revived right now. It does stop you from taking down that health. He's going to be healed up just barely. Kala going in with the micro Uzi, though, potentially looking for the kill, looking for the fight. Going to be going around, trying to find the shots, but not going to be able to find the kill. 13 left in the clip, but coming around is going to be Wolf. Finds the shots, gets the other knockdown, getting the damage around. All it takes is one more hit, and Jorski's going to be going down. They're going to be able to find that one right there. All taken down by Wolf, but Kala being the perfect distraction for her teammate.
That was intense, the ring around the bunker there as he pushes in. I like to switch to the micro Uzi. This is a good weapon to switch with. You can get a good blast on the team in there if you don't have a shotgun or something else more appropriate. And they do a great job of just taking their time to get down there, whittling them down, taking their health down, and really getting a great push on that and getting the kills. And Enzelenzo and Jorski are sitting, as I mentioned before, tied for second place with Idan and Legendary, who you see are still alive in the game now. So these matches and the placement and the kills in these matches are going to be just so crucial here at the end of game 3 of week 4, and then of course the last 3 games of week 5.
Lush making his way up from those houses we saw earlier, along with his teammate David, potentially looking for some more kills here. The glory about this game, for the players specifically, is going to be the fact that once you're inside the circle, you can do this. You can hide around, you can get into your own building and glance around just to make sure, are we going to be safe? Maybe we can pick someone up on their way in, but you don't have to worry as hard about the damage coming through to you or anything like that. IDAN can be able to take out Young Modern, so he's fully eliminated his team completely out. IDAN and Legendary still potentially looking to try and run around and find some kills. These two sitting just on the inner edge of the blue have a long way to run if they want to stay safe.
Yeah, they're working their way in. They got a kill there, so it's going to be a nice point, plus wherever they finish as well. So the team's really starting, I think, to think strategically about where they finish and what fights they take. This game is so much about the fights that you take and the fights that you don't take. And I think that's got to be so much more on their minds in this tournament here.
Blasty K going to be looking for some shots. The shots coming right back at him. Kramer looking to try and find the kill. The grenade's going to be cooked. It's going to be thrown over the rock. One hit's all it's going to take. Another one being chucked just to be safe. And it's not going to find its mark. Blasty actually gets the Mini 14 knockdown onto Sleuthy. So Kramer left without a teammate right now. Still looking at the one rock. Blasty K running completely away. And he's going to be safe right here. And this is the opportunity for Kramer to potentially turn around, heal up his teammate. And I don't think he's quite realized he's safe just yet, but he's going to be slowly making his way over there. He's not getting shot at, so he knows he's going to be A-okay to try and find the revive here.
34 left alive, and you can see a lot of teams still out in that blue area. It's not on the move yet, though, so they do have some time to make their way in, but it's getting very congested there, very congested, especially in the northmost point. They're going to start pushing on each other. These compounds are going to start being overrun. As you can see, there's already some action going on. These guys are sharing a house with each other right now. That's Zago and Dras, and they are looking to potentially hold that down and push the other team out.
At this point, one of them is going to end up paying rent in blood. And they don't really want to do that. Neither of them want to get knocked out this early on, which I say this early on as though we haven't been going for quite a while already. But with 30 players, 31 players still left alive as of right now, it's not the kind of time you want to get knocked out. We do see a few players getting pushed away outside the blue. Sleuthy, Kramer about to be taking damage over there. PVJ as well, one of those players. Biggie's knocked down by Allowed. Scurry going to be hanging around over here. His teammate very, very far away from him. Both of these players, Allowed as well as Scurry, are in a position where they're in a 1v1 with a team looking to try and find the kill because their teammate is knocked down and dying currently as they go in. We're going to be able to get the kill on the Scurry and Biggie, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to go back and save his teammate, so he's just going to rush forward and get the loot.
That was nicely played. And I want to point out that while in Game 2, we had a bunch of teams under 10th place making very strong finishes. This finish here is turning out to be a bunch of teams that are at least top 15 spots. So you saw Dras with Armada Esports holding down a spot there. Lush as well. They're trying to work their way up. But we also saw Smithy and DeCannon. Nop is still alive. I didn't see Purdy Curdy, though, so I think he might actually be solo at this point unless they did a split. DeCannon there, though, is low, and Sleuthy's making a move. Sleuthy's going to go down. Died from falling.
Ends up taking a spill. Kramer dies outside the zone. Blasty K as well is outside the zone. Dockannon just inside the zone, and Legendary coming in right behind a couple other players. But I really like Blasty K. He's sitting up on a hill. He's low. He has the healing, though, and it looks like he's trying to make a play for maybe watching some people run in, come down, find the kill, find the hits that he might need. As the rest of the team's looking to try to find their way to the new circle. 19 left alive currently. And for anyone counting at home, that is not quite enough to beat 10 full teams, unless we have a lot of solo players coming through, which is always possible to see Blasty K left all alone. Dockannon going to be taken down by Kala, it looks like. And you can see just a few solos here and there, but a lot of players stuck in a position where they need to continue using the advantage of having a teammate.
Yeah, you see the circle getting very small on these players, pressing in on the southernmost spot, which crazily enough allows that compound where the action was going on a moment ago to really become a focal point once again. As you can see, Zago and Drast, these are two different teams in there holding down that same spot. You can see Sideline Killer and Zago up top, Drast down below, and David pushing up from the side. So 3 teams converging on the same compound. And only a couple teams out of this, only a couple players are not in a sort of a top 15 situation on the leaderboard now. And Lush and David are one of those. They're a bit down below, but this could be a big pickup for them if they finish high today.
Especially with their positioning. It's technically a 2v3, which is a weird scenario to be in when you're in a duos game, but there's the potential to eliminate one team as well as the other if they can come in and fight it. And they're going to be standing in the building right next to them. They're going to have 3 teams in one small area looking to be going forward with it. H-Right in a similar position, sharing buildings that are very close to Nop Nop. I see VZ and Odenthor actually having to make their way right back around to this area. This is kind of where they were hovering around earlier, but VZ's right now knocked down. Kala is going to be the one who did that with the Mini 14. It looks like that should be an easy revive here for Odenthor. But they have to be worried as Kala actually is getting eliminated from Easy on the other side.
Yeah, that's a tough takedown for Odenthor and his teammate. They're actually sitting in a really nice spot right now. VZ and Odenthor are in 7th spot. So finishing strong here could see them potentially in the top 3. Still a good amount of teams left, or still a good amount of players left. As you can see, Oz here is making his way around the edge of the blue. They're just trying to get a beat on any teams working their way in. And you saw a couple of those players that had been lurking outside for so long finally go down. We're left to 16 alive. As you mentioned, Nop Nop is there solo, and he's actually in the circle. The rest of these teams fighting hard right now. Dag actually knocks down Lush, and Sevo's knocked down as well. And teams and players are starting to fall as they make their way in because they have a lot of ground to make. And this is another one of those situations where you're sitting so safely in a house for so long, and then at some point you have to push, and it becomes a very dangerous game.
David going to be able to get the revive onto Lush and find the kill onto Dag, but now all those players that were hanging around inside that complex are not only outside of the blue, but going to be finding each other relatively soon as well, as the shot should be coming down. Zyphon's going to get knocked out by VZ. We do see Zago knocked down outside the play zone himself, taking too much damage, and it looks like a couple others going to be picked up as H-Right looking around, trying to find the shots he needs, but he's going to get taken down by VZ from behind, and there's just going to be a big collision right here with all of these teams. They were waiting so long, and we see them falling. Wolf gets taken down. His teammate died earlier on. Blasty, VZ, Drast, Sideline Killer, all dead, all outside the play zone. Odenthor left alone. Lush, David trying to get in, but they're low. Lush trying to heal. David's going to take the spill as well, and Lush being the last one alive for his team. 5 members left. We went from 15 to 5 in almost an instant. So many players dying pretty much in one small gambit, and Lush not able to make it in.
Imagine if you're Nop Nops sitting in that shed for like the last 5 to 10 minutes solo without your teammate, and all of a sudden seeing 15 or so players wiped out, and you're alone in the safe zone right now, and now they're all just killing each other. He could just sit there and win this thing.
Odenthor taking a lot of damage from Easy and Fire Official. They're going to be able to find that. Now it's going to be a 2v1 looking for the kill. Nop Nop going to be going down. He finds the knockout in the 1v1. He's sitting a little over half health, potentially looking to heal up just a little bit to try and go into this fight. Not at a complete disadvantage. Grenade's going to be thrown at him. It's right at his doorstep, and he's going to hide just behind the window, just barely staying alive. Fire Official does not want to leave, but he knows where Nop Nop is. And he has this nice AWM, and he's holding it. He's going to be looking down. All it takes is one shot. All he needs is the hit, and he's going to be able to find it with a headshot. 3 kills on him, 2 kills for Easy, and they take number 1.
That's huge. A big win for them. They were pretty far down the leaderboard, so that's going to bump them up. But I think the big win here is Nop Nop takes second. Nop Nop and Purdy Curdy, 0 kills, either one. But they take second place. This is that consistency we've been talking about. They're going to continue to be in first place with that second place finish, even though they got no kills. Another impressive game from Odenthor and VZ, and the rest is history. Gore, it's been a pleasure tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure watching these guys play.
Yeah, it's been fun once again. This was week number 4. Now we have 3 more games that we get to sit around and watch these. Of course, that's assuming that we don't see them in future events, which I will just drop again if you want to be able to find about those. Always follow PUBGLeague.gg. Follow here on the Twitch channel. Follow around on social media, either the admins, us, the casters, or maybe even some of the production if they might have an inside word. But that was game number 3 of the night, and that is week number 4 all closed down and in the books. We're going to go ahead and take this time to thank out, again, ViewSonic, Cooler Master, a lot of cool prizes. That's what these players are going for, and they have one more week to prove it. So we'll see you all again in week number 5.